You need to convince them beyond reasonable doubt. Someone got a visa rejection because of what? The sponsor's account was showing thousands of US dollars. The person lives in the USA. That's not a smart move. Because of what? If you live in the USA and you have thousands of US dollars, what is it difficult? Why is it difficult for you to transfer maybe 15,000 euros to your sister? Since you claim it's your sister, transfer her some money, then you do documents and explain to the Spanish embassy that because you live in the USA, you might not have... Okay, beautiful people. So if you're an international student or prospective international student and you intend to move to Spain this 2025, please listen to this video till the end. There are so many changes now, and last year some of my followers got rejections to Spain for several reasons. Okay, I'm going to be addressing that in this video, but first let me address this. 2 weeks ago I did a video about Spain with title Study in Spain 2025 updates and so many other things you need to know, and I actually forgot to add the link where you can actually use to apply for Spanish universities. Remember that if you want to study in Spain, you have to go, there is a particular link where all the Spanish universities are in there. Okay, you can actually see the number of credits you are going to get per program after you finish studying that program. You can equally see the number of ECTS, credit units, right? And from the credit unit, you can calculate the tuition fee. Check my other videos, then you watch what I actually said in those videos about studies in Spain, and see you in Europe this year. Now, there are changes in Spain. Remember, let me say this before I forget. Those of you who are telling me you do not have enough money to move with family to other places like the Netherlands, Denmark, you can also move to Spain. Now, remember that proof of funds to study in Portugal has been increased from 8,000 to like 10,440 euros for one individual. If you are going to be studying in Portugal, that is your proof of funds. Now, there are other things you need to do in addition to that. But for Spain, for you to study in Spain, the money is not up to 9,000 euros. Now, remember, for you to even study in Spain, you need to pay tuition deposit. And I'm going to be explaining all of these things here. These are the programs you should target if you want to study in Spain this year. I was talking to somebody yesterday. Actually, I have a friend who wants to study in Spain, but she wants it. It's a she wants to move with the family, but she wants to study a program like medicine, dentistry, and then nursing. But the only program I got was in Spanish. Now, the Spanish language, you are not studying it for free. You have to study it for 1 year and pay close to like 6,000 euros before the next year. Now you can enroll in your nursing program, which will be taught in Spanish. I think that is a total waste of time. I didn't even know until I came across these laws. If you want to move to Spain, know that you can study and work. You can equally work 30 hours a week. Put this into consideration. You can move with your family as well. Put this into consideration. Now, to those of you who were thinking that you can move to Spain, study the Spanish language, then after that you get a long-term visa, it is not going to be possible after May 20, 2025. There are new reforms, new policies that are coming up in every country, and the Spanish officials are deliberating on this. So information is that there will be no long-term visa. So if you use the Spanish language and go to Spain, first of all, you can only get a short-term Spanish study visa now. But before, you could get even a long-term visa, or after you finish the Spanish language, you can maybe extend your visa. But now, if you are taking the Spanish language to migrate to Spain with the intention that you are going to stay in Spain, you have to think again, guys. My last advice is go in only for a bachelor's program, master's or PhD program, degree program, or vocational programs. At least let it last for 1 year or more, because of course Spanish language courses are usually 3 to 6 months. Before, you could use a tourist visa, go to Spain and convert to study. Guys, it is going to be difficult after May 20, 2025. Do not take these things I'm telling you for granted, and also do your due diligence. If you need a one-on-one call with me, from the video description box, you can book that. Also, understand that if you want to study a Spanish language course, if you still want to take the Spanish language, check these universities they call Spanish School in Barcelona, and also check Taronja Spanish School in Madrid. Is it in Madrid? No. Check these two universities, and note that if you want to study in Spain in any Spanish institution, like you want to learn the language, you should be at least 18 to 28 years. Pay attention to these things, because I know many people would not read this info. At the end of the day, will not watch video, will not do research. At the end of the day, you would get your visa rejected after wasting a lot of resources and time. Sometimes it's really painful, but again, watch videos. You have to invest time and resources if you really want to japa abroad. Invest legal time and legal resources. I hope you understand what I mean. Now, proof of funds also have changed, and many people do not know. Okay, even myself, I didn't know this until I spoke to somebody, an institution. Okay, and if you go to the Spanish Embassy's website, I don't know about those in Nigeria or those in Kenya or South Africa, but those in Cameroon, you might notice that the Spanish Embassy's website has not been updated. I think there is an amount there like 6,000 euros or something. But that is not the amount you are going to use. If you check the dates, you will notice that that amount is for 2022. Now we are in 2025, and what you need is close to like 9,000 euros. The video is on the platform. I'm going to still explain again for you to understand. Now, if you want to study in Spain, remember I said you are going to be applying through the website, the homologous website, and also understand that your documents must be homologated. Now, what do I mean by homologation? You can do it online or you can do it physically. If you want to do it physically, your documents have to reach the Spanish embassy. Sometimes some universities will tell you you have to submit homologated documents. If you do not understand, check it again and see. But the documents must go through the Ministry of Education, Foreign Affairs, and if you have the time, go with it to the Spanish embassy, so that they can be authenticated and legalized. Now, let me tell you, there is a student, I will not share more details. On her documents, it is written there, legalized and authenticated documents. I'm talking for those of you watching me and you are Cameroonians. When you want to homologate your documents, especially your O levels and A levels, take your documents to the GCE board. Then from the GCE board, go with it to the Ministry of Education. From the Ministry of Education, go with it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then from Foreign Affairs, you are good to apply to Spanish universities. And if you like, go with it to the Spanish Embassy. But note that when visa application, when you are about to apply for visa, you must go through the Spanish Embassy. You cannot skip this, okay? For translation, you do not necessarily need it. You can do translation when you are in Spain, but this is the procedure. For Nigerians, you have to go through Ministry of Education, Foreign Affairs, and the same procedure. But for Cameroonians, those with O and A levels, you already know what to do. I think some of you have technical GCE. Some of you wrote technical. You have probatoire and baccalaureate. Of course, you still know where to go. Then those from universities, I'm going to be talking only based on University of Boya. Go to UB, collect a transcript, new transcript. The signature of the current registrar must be on it. Then you legalize your certificate or attestation of completion of studies. You now gather everything. If you are applying for masters, you gather everything and go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I do not know the prices involved. Please ask the competent authorities. Now, that is your homologated documents. Then after that, you apply to the school. Some schools will not need this, but some will ask you. However, note that if you get admissions, you might have to pay tuition deposit. Some schools will ask for half of the tuition. Some will say pay this amount and then you pay subsequently in installments. It all depends on the various universities. And remember, on this site that I'm going to put, I will put a link below. You might not get all the schools in Spain, especially some private institutions. but you can check that site very well. There are English programs at bachelor's, master's, and PhD level in Spain. You just need to do your due diligence, then you are good to go. I'm going to put the link below. Also, understand that I've talked about legalization. After you've gotten admissions, you now need to apply for visa. And remember, if your visa is rejected, well, some schools have policies that you must follow. Every institution have its own policy. Now, before you apply to some schools, they will, on their website, you are going to find these policies. Some will say that, pay attention to this, guys. Some will say that if your visa is rejected because of fake documents, we will not refund you. Some will say that if your visa is rejected because of late application, we will not refund you. Some will say that if your visa is rejected because of insufficient funds, we will not refund you. Now, I understand why they are doing this, so that you do not use fake documents, you do not apply late, and you do not go with a bank statement which doesn't make sense. That's why I always tell you people that it is not good to do lump sums, because the Spanish embassy, if they are not convinced that the money in that account is that of your sponsor or your own money must be physically available and readily available and accessible to you. If you wake up today in the night, if you're in Spain and maybe you want to go to another city, let's say you live in Valencia and you want to go to Malaga, and there is money in your account, the account you claim is your account, will you be able to use that money that's readily available and accessible to you? So this is what the embassy wants, and they know that most people will just. And now, when the embassy notice that within an interval of 4 months you did not do a transfer, out of a sudden you are showing them 5 million deposit, where did you get the money from? These are the type of questions the visa officer will ask. Even if I'm the one, I will start thinking, where does this applicant get this money from for this duration? Very short. What happened? Why were you not doing deposits before? So you need to be building your account slowly. And this is something I keep telling people, okay? Because you need to convince them beyond reasonable doubt. Someone got a visa rejection because of what? The sponsor's account was showing thousands of US dollars. The person lives in the USA. That's not a smart move. Because of what? If you live in the USA and you have thousands of US dollars, what is it difficult? Why is it difficult for you to transfer maybe 15,000 euros to your sister? Since you claim it's your sister, transfer her some money, then you do documents and explain to the Spanish embassy that because you live in the USA, you might not have time to be sending her money. She might need money and you will not be available, or maybe not online, maybe at work, right? That's the reason you transfer this money to her account, so that she can have access to the money at any point in time. That is a good explanation, right? Otherwise, build the account slowly. But don't wait at the end of the day. You are telling the officer you have 40,000 US dollars, but you did not transfer anything and you claim you are sponsoring your sister. When you do like this, they might start thinking that, okay, you want this girl to reach Spain, or maybe this boy or your brother, then you move immediately, you understand? And things like that will slow your progress. So you have to be tactical when it comes to visa application. Then also understand, like I said, before doing payments, understand refund policies. Some schools do not like when you do this, because if they give you admissions, instead of you to apply, remember, this information I'm giving you, insufficient funds, is part of the updates for May 2025. If you apply for your visa late, now you have to apply 2 months before the start of your program. Let's say your program is starting October and you are applying for your visa September. You would be rejected, right? Yes, you need to give the visa officer time to look at your file, right? And make sure you apply before your program begins. Your program cannot be starting and then you are running to the embassy to submit visa application. What happened to June, July? Apply June, July, so that you give it August, September, then 2 months. By October, your program is starting, no problem. You can then get your visa and you move. And again, put in the right documentations. I believe this is going to help you. In another video, I'm going to tell you what the proof of funds is going to look like, and then we can vibe.